was sensational, scoring 65 knockouts, winning 4 Australian titles and 2 Commonwealth titles. He was born into abject poverty. His childhood home was a shack his father built by the Clarence River at Bayougal near Grafton.
Back in the day, we had no power, no phones, or no running water. We had to walk to the nearest creek for Mum to wash our clothes, and we used to have a swim in the river or the creek to have our bath or shower, whatever.
Mundine came to Sydney to get a job and to play football. He went to Ern McQuillan's gym to keep fit. Ern McQuillan Jr. remembers his dad's excitement at another prospective champion.
The first day that he was in the gym, my dad put the mitts on him, and straight away it was there. He said, "Have you ever boxed before, son?" He said, "No, I've never had the gloves on in my life." Just a natural, you know.
Mundine made a spectacular rise, devastating opponents with his power and freakish speed. But he suffered early setbacks against Mahunga and former world champ Luis Rodriguez, and was savaged by critics as a fighter who could dish it out but couldn't take it. Referee and commentator Gus Mercurio always disagreed.
When he got hit, he had a problem. Now, a lot of people use this glass jaw type situation. When Tony got hit by Calhoun Mahunga, and I was there that night, the punch Calhoun hit Tony with would have knocked over a building, right? When Tony got hit by Luis Rodriguez in 49 seconds of the first round at North Melbourne, that punch would have knocked over an army tank.
Alan Moore had no doubt Mundine could make it to the top.
I'll probably sparred more rounds with Tony than most other men. Tony was a great fighter. Great fighter.
Moore and Mundine topped the bill at Sydney Stadium in 1970 against a pair of Filipinos. It was the old barn's last blast before she made way for the Eastern Suburbs railway line.
Harry Miller was a promoter, God rest his soul, at that time. And Harry put on over the years some rather slightly indifferent bouts, for want of a better word. and so some bloke, all sitting there quiet, and then some bloke got up and said, "Harry, you've done it for the last, robbed us for the last time." Brought the house down, and we just packed up and went home.
Commonwealth middleweight champion Australia's Tony Mundine clashes with world-rated American Tony Mundine in a scheduled 10-round contest at Sydney's Holland Pavilion.
When Mundine was winning, there was no fighter quite so spectacular. He beat some of the world's best boxers, including former world junior middleweight champ Denny Moyer. Tony was a hit wherever he went, especially in Paris, where he manhandled the legendary Emile Griffith.
And the next morning, the French papers, Paris papers, came out with Mundine, another Sugar Ray Robinson. I thought, oh, isn't this marvellous?
In 1973, the world middleweight champ was Argentina's Carlos Monzon, a former pimp and sometimes movie star who was unbeaten in the last 13 years of his career. Mundine was the #1 contender. Mundine, in the dark T-shirt, sparring with Al Coravu, lost to American Benny Briscoe in 1973. But he still earned a shot at Monzon in October 1974 at Luna Park in Buenos Aires. Bill Morley covered the fight for Sydney's Daily Mirror.
Monzon wasn't the most popular person in Buenos Aires, but fight night he certainly was. Anyway, all of the prelims fell short, and so there were these long drags in time. So they'd start to beat drums and they'd blow trumpets and they'd shake the cage, and then they'd start a chant. I said, "What are they saying?" They said, "Monzon is king, Monzon lives forever." And oh, it was an eerie chant. It was going straight down the tunnel, you know, to where Mundine was waiting to come out for his chance at his title. And, you know, when Tony came out, he didn't look the most confident person in the world, and I don't blame him.
Mundine gave a brilliant performance early, but faded in round 7.
Big right hand. That was a good punch, but he's got to throw more. And Tony, a flurry of punches from the Argentinian, putting the Australian down in round 7. Again,
But Mundine still packed out stadiums in Australia and Europe. He beat Steve Axel for the Commonwealth light heavyweight title and for years hovered around the world ratings. Tony is proud that he never touched alcohol, tobacco or drugs, something he instilled into his son Anthony, one of the hottest rugby league players in Australia. The tragedy of Tony Mundine's career is that he came along when Carlos Monzon was virtually invincible.